I'm pleased so many people were able to come over 100. That's great. I'm not going to waste any time. I will hand over to Jodie Chilvers, who I've lost on the screen, but I'm sure she's there somewhere. And Jodie is our LIC, but you will also know her from being a long-time attendant at Regatta, and you'll also know her as being the Youth Awards liaison. So if the name seems familiar, it probably is, but I'll hand straight over to Jodie so we can get on our way. Jodie,
okay.
Oh, there you are.
Yes, here I am. Thank you, everybody, for taking time out. We'll try and get through it as quick as we can, because I know for everyone our time is precious. So we're just going to give a bit of an overview tonight of the camp, and hopefully we will have answered some of the questions that have been put in. So what we're just going to ask you to do, because there's so many of you, just to remain on mute. I'm going to give you a little bit of a spiel, and then we'll have a question and answer time at the end. In the meantime, if you want to type questions into the chat, you can, and Ashely and Emma will pick those up, and as I say, but we will still deal with those at the end. Okay, so we'll get started. Some of you might have had a bit of a sneaky look at the website already, and there's quite a bit of information there. So the location, the camp is obviously April next year, the 11th to the 16th, and the camp is open to guides and senior guide age group, obviously, and leaders. It's going to be held at Katoomba, and it is within walking distance of local attractions up there. We have exclusive use of the site that we will be at, and we have a big flat grass area, an oval basically, for camping on, which has the capacity for about 1,000 people. So if you've been into the website and looked, we aren't on the campsite that they're referring to. We're at a different location for camping. And if we reach this capacity, we will open a waiting list for the camp and work through that as we need to. The camp will be fully catered for by the centre, so we will have all dietary requirements met. There shouldn't be a problem with that at all. If we're going off site, they will pack meals and things like that for us. Registrations have opened, and they will close, and correct me if I'm wrong, the 15th of February next year. So get your applications in early, obviously. There are two payment options for camp. Payment options for camp. The girls can pay in full, or you can pay in 2 installments, whichever you prefer. And when you go in to do your registration, it'll give you the option to do that. There is also a payment incentive if you have completed your registration by the 31st of December. There is a little competition there, having to go into the draw for a little prize pack there. So that's just an incentive, because we know how good guides are at leaving things to the last minute. Okay, while at the camp, you will be camping in regions. So the guides and the senior guides will all be camped together from your region in the one group, and how your region organises that will be up to your regions. Obviously, the leaders will be camped in those groups as well with the girls. All participants at the camp will arrive and leave the camp with their region bus, on their region bus. Okay. Unfortunately, we don't have any additional accommodation the night prior to camp or the night after camp. So even as a committee, we will be coming in not much earlier than you guys. We don't have access to the site prior to the camp starting on the Sunday. So sorry, I'm just looking at my notes here. With your payment options, you can only pay for yourself at the moment, so you can't register a group. So that's been done so that leaders aren't left with unpaid monies. So when you go in, you will register only yourself, and you will need to ask your girls and their parents to go in and register the girls individually. There is a full refund policy on the website, So if anything changes with government restrictions, etc., full refunds will be done. But you can go in and have a look at that policy. We're not going to bog down on that tonight. As I said, there is lots of information on the website, so please go in there and have a look. And just one note, we will also have a welfare space, timeout space available at the campsite as well, if that's needed by any of your girls. Oh, maybe even me, all the leaders, we might all be there. Okay, so to give you a bit of a rundown on the program, because there have been a couple of questions asked about that. The program will be mixed up. Some of the activities will be done separately, guides and senior guides, and some of the activities will be done all together. So there's a mixture of on-site and off-site activities, and obviously we're making the best of the location that we're in. So we will be using some of those local attractions. Regions will be mixed up for activities. So you will camp in regions, but we will make activity groups and they will be mixed up from girls from different regions. We will have senior guides doing, for the first 2 days, some activities together and the guides separately. We hope to all go off site together. And on the final day, we are having a Centenary carnival. And on this day, so this will be obviously on site with lots of activities for the girls to take part in. And on this day, we will also be inviting day visitors. Our day visitors are members only, so parents aren't able to access the site on that day. And we are looking to have approximately another 300 people come on site for the day. It can be all ages. They don't have to be guides and senior guides, so the younger girls can come along, but they will need to be accompanied by a leader. When they come, they will take part in the activities as we are. They will have their meals provided for the day, morning tea, afternoon tea, and lunch, and a badge as part of their fee. We don't have a price for this as yet. We're just trying to knuckle down some of our activities for that day before we do that. But applications for the open day will be available from the 3rd of December. If you want to put that out there to girls who may not be able to attend for the full camp, they could come along and enjoy the fun on, it'll be the Thursday of camp. In the evening, we also have a spread of activities. We'll obviously be doing a campfire, some movies, stargazing, Indigenous activities. So each night we'll have a different activity for the girls to take part in. Okay, to help us out, we have appointed in each region a region liaison. So that person is to assist with communications from myself and the committee and guide headquarters to put that information out to the region. And they will also be available to help with camp organisation, so things like patrols and activity groups and that kind of thing. They are also there for the leaders' benefit. So for you leaders, you can contact your region liaison and ask them a question. If they aren't able to provide that information to you, they will come back to us and we will channel that information back through. They will be managing all participants from the region, girls and leaders, and the ratios that are required for camping. So I know there were a couple of questions that came up about that. So if you do have any questions about the ratios and the appointment of leaders, you need to go back through to your region liaison and have a chat to them. I think we are going to put up before the end of the meeting a list of those leaders, those liaisons, so you can see who has been appointed in your region. They will advise as we get closer the camping arrangements that will be made. So what tents will be required, what equipment will be required, how they're going to get that equipment to camp, what type of tents you're going to sleep in, and bell tents or dome tents are suitable. It doesn't matter, we can have either. So they will manage all that equipment that needs to go to camp. Okay, and I say all that equipment, it's really only tents and the girls' personal items. We aren't taking any cooking equipment. The girls don't even need to have a mess kit with them. So the gear that you're taking, which is really covering 4 days, 5 days, should be obviously not as onerous as you have had to take to other places. The bus, and they will coordinate your bus travel in your region as well. The buses will be able to pull up on the edge of the oval, so carrying equipment on and off the oval shouldn't be a problem. If you can imagine, the greatest distance that you would have to carry your gear would be from one end of the oval to the other, and it's obviously flat and grassy. So it's quite easy from that point of view to being able to get equipment in and out. So as I said, it will be managed by the region. They will work out what tents are going to go, how you're going to sleep in those tents, what's going to happen, and the transport of that. There is no facility for cars, trailers, or trucks carrying equipment to be stored at the campsite. So we will not be allowing leaders to come in with a car and park that during the camp. We just don't have the facilities to do that. So as I say, you need to go back to the region liaison about the equipment that you've got and speak to them, and they will coordinate the carriage of that gear to the camp. Okay. The only other thing that you may need down on the oval might be some shade, because obviously being an oval, there aren't any trees planted in the middle of it. Okay, now the big question is, as leaders, how can you help us? So for our leaders, you need to be at the camp for the full duration of the camp. There isn't any part-time positions available at camp. We need you to be there for the full duration. You do not need to have camping qualifications. That's my job, and obviously I have them. If you have the opportunity to camp and you have camping qualifications beforehand, that is a great plus, but you're not required to go out and have camping qualifications to bring your girls to camp. And the girls don't need to have a requirement for camping either. So we're not going to insist that they have camped for 5 days beforehand or anything like that. Again, if there is the opportunity for you to take your girls camping beforehand and they have all had some experience under canvas, it's a big plus. But there is no expectation for the girls to have to tick a box at registration to say that they have done any amount of camping. So just bear that in mind with the girls. As I say, if you can do anything with them beforehand, that's great. Whilst at the camp, leaders will be required to supervise activities and accompany the girls when they go off site. And you will be asked to accompany and supervise girls that aren't your own. So as I said, our activities will be mixed up in regions. So you will need to go with a group of girls. Some of them may be your own and some of them may not be your own. And you'll be required to supervise that activity for a set period of time. So it won't be a matter of going with a group of girls and then moving on. We will probably have you at one activity supervising. And the reason that we've done that is to try and keep our costs down a little bit. So supervision at the camp. Again, your supervisory skills don't require you to do anything beforehand. We will let you know what you need to do once you get to camp. We have no central group of leaders at camp to run activities. It's not the same as they do at Jamboree, so we aren't having that central area. You will come as a leader, as part of your region, and then your region will work out what supervisory roles we require and help us to coordinate that. And one of the biggest things, and hopefully as you have all enthusiastically turned up today, we are asking you to be really enthusiastic with your girls about the camp. Even if you're not able to attend, if you can contact your region liaison, and the girls will be grouped in your region and they can still attend the camp. So if you don't feel like the camping is the thing that you want to do, or you're not able to do that, please encourage your girls to come along anyway. As we said, with the camping in the regions, hopefully they may already know someone else in their region that they might be comfortable enough to come along with. But again, if you can go back to your region liaison and talk to her about that, then she will make sure that they are well looked after, as will we all. But that's what I say. Please encourage them to come. And obviously, if they can't, perhaps coming to the open day on the last day of camp could be a good option for the girls. Okay, just having a look at my notes. Sarah, I think I've covered everything. I feel like I've dumped a whole lot of information on everybody, and I know people are madly taking notes. As I say, there is lots of information on the website, and we will keep adding to that as things come up and things get put in place. We will have up on the website shortly a little bit more information about the program, but we are still just tweaking a few things and tidying things up before we put up too much more information about that. So yeah, that's where we're up to with it. We're obviously still in the process of getting some of those things sorted out, but we're really looking forward to it. We've got lots of things, exciting things planned for the 4 days, so they should be good, really good fun.
Yeah. Thanks, Jodie. There was just a couple of things I was thinking about as you were giving that overview. You will see, everyone, that we are trying to make this camp as easy as possible for people within regions to attend. So often one of the problems we have at large camps, and you would know this from having region camps or having been to a large event previously, is that when girls are camping with girls and leaders they don't know, there is often quite a few issues with homesickness and loneliness and being worried about different things. So we felt that if the girls were camped together in their region, there would at least be some familiar faces from the region and their units in their local group. So we thought that was a really great way to enhance the enjoyment of all the girls attending. And we are, by and large, I just wanted to reinforce that we are by and large leaving a lot of the decisions about what your region camp will look like. So some of the larger regions will end up with, I dare say, something akin to sub-camps, and some of the smaller regions will just camp almost as though it's a district camp. It depends how many girls are coming from each of your regions, and that is up to you guys to manage, as is the ratios and the extra leaders above ratio that might be required. And your region liaisons will be managing that with your region teams. And the other thing I just wanted to also let everyone know was that Jodie is the overall LIC of camp, but each region will have its own leader. It won't necessarily be a LIC, but a leader in charge of the camp of that region. So they are the liaison between the committee and the people in camp, and are overall responsible for the management of that camping within the region. Okay, that's all I really want to add to that. Nothing else.
Okay. All right, do we start with some questions? I'm hoping that we have answered some of the questions that were sent in prior. So if you do still have something that is outstanding, then please let us know. It might be easier if we start to have a look through the chat.
Okay, just while you guys are curating what questions we might want to go through, there is one there from Siobhan about the approaching the region liaison to see about who's approved for camp. Because we're basically camping in regions, the regions are best placed to manage how many leaders attend camp, and there is no need for you to approach the region liaison. There is a process in place for that. all registrations for adults are not actually registrations, they're applications. And once you have submitted your application, there will be a process by which you will be have your application be successful, or someone will contact you as to if it's not successful. So there is a process in place with that. So just if you are interested in registering, you can register now, and that process will work its way through. We're just finalising that now.
Sarah and Jodie, before we jump into our Q&A section of this meeting, I'm just going to throw up a quick slide with the region liaisons.
Oh, yeah.
And just to confirm for everyone, we will send a confirmation email out after today's meeting where we'll send you their name and their email address. But I'm just going to pop a quick slide up to let everyone know who their region liaisons are.
And there's another question there about is the LIC for the region separate from the region liaison? It can be the same person, or it may be a separate person. That will be an internal decision within the regions about how that works.
So just a quick list of all of the region liaisons that are available. We're just working on a region liaison for Cumberland Plains and Southern Sydney Rivers region liaison. So we'll be in touch with those of you from those regions with your region liaison very shortly.
Cool. I'll just ask you some questions, Jodie and Sarah, from the chat that were earlier on. One question, will there be charging tents for devices to use?
We have been in discussions with the centre about charging devices, and we hope to have something on site. I don't know that they will be charging tents as such, but the convention centre can provide us with some additional charging facilities for our use while we are down on the campsite. And we will be just looking at how we're going to manage that. We haven't quite locked that bit down, but we are hoping to have some sort of charging facilities for, it'll be mainly phones as such, but yes, we do hope to have something there available.
Cool. Another one is, will it be own transport for those coming for the Carnival Day visit?
Okay, so that's that's something I didn't actually mention. We have had a meeting with our region liaisons, and we did touch base about whether it could be worth the region again organising a contingent from your region to come on the visitors' day, and we didn't lock it down, but it is something that we will be looking at. So as we said, the girls will need to be accompanied by a leader. So it won't be accompanied by a parent. They will need to be accompanied by a leader. And we will have some parking available that day for people coming in just for the day. So again, it's probably something that we will need to get a little bit more information out about down the track, but it might be something that is done through the regions, similar to the region transport going to and from camp, depending on numbers.
Cool. You may have covered off on this slightly, but just to confirm, will there be a limited number of leaders in a region attending?
So I think Sarah may have just touched on this now. Your region liaisons will manage your girl to leader ratio. So again, it will be up to them to be able to put together the group that is coming from your region. And as I said, we don't have a central area where leaders will be part of that central group to offer assistance to the camp. They will be coming with their region and camping with their region as part of that group. So if they bring additional leaders above the ratios that's required, that's how they will manage it within their region.
Perfect. This might be, Ashely, you may chime in here if you would like to. Is there any fundraising we can do as units to help girls or families afford to attend? And what are the rules around fundraising?
Great. Yeah, happy to answer that. And Sarah, feel free to chime in if there's any more you'd like to add. But there's a lot that regions and units can do for fundraising. A quick stipulation, if you are fundraising for attendance as an individual, it is not a tax deductible fundraising item. It's just raising money to come to the event. However, if you are fundraising as a district or you are fundraising as a region, it is tax deductible. So I would recommend being strategic in your fundraising for the collective, as that's a greater benefit to your donors. We will have some information available on the microsite. There's some out there already about tips and tricks to help you for your fundraising. We recommend a bit of a conversation with your region and communication with those who did some fundraising for Jamboree, as there was a lot of fundraising to come along for that event as well. There are some other opportunities out there. There are some applications for the hardship fund and some applications for the state travel fund. So for example, if you needed to travel from a far reaching area of your region to be able to reach where the region bus is, you could apply for that travel reimbursement. So be on the lookout for some more information and some more comms coming your way about fundraising. We want to make sure that we're really available to support you with as much as we can. As we know, you know, every family and every member has a different set of financial circumstances.
Can I just throw something in there too, Ashely?
Yeah,
when
please.
you talk about it being a tax deduction, it is not a tax deduction for yourself, unfortunately. It's a tax deduction for your donors, and each region has a gift tax deductible receipt book. So any donations need to go through the region account, which will be again then transferred into the district so that receipt can be issued.
Perfect. Okay, heaps of questions coming in, which is awesome, and hopefully we can cover off on all of them. If we don't, we will add these questions to the FAQs on the website and make sure that they are answered there, and that we do follow up with you as well. Next question I have is, at the moment it is 1 girl per tent when camping. I know it's still very early stages and this may change. However, do you see this happening at the camp, which means individual tents?
Okay, at the moment, as a committee putting the camp together, we are acting normal, if that's whatever normal is. So we are hoping that come April, our restrictions will have certainly improved on what we are with now, and we are hoping that we will have gone back to normal camping conditions. And obviously normal will vary amongst different units and different regions. So at this point in time, we are planning the camp around that. Clearly we will have COVID plans in place, we will have risk assessments in place, and obviously we will need to tweak and drive the restrictions that the government puts out and change things as we go along the way. But at the moment, we are hoping that we will just be in normal camping conditions, and we will have to address anything that comes up to us between now and April. Should the government restrictions tighten again, we do have a contingency in place. And if we do have to cancel the camp, we have had some, I'm losing my words, we have a secondary date in place for later on in the year that we hope that we would be able to have the camp in that circumstance. Again, as you would all know, we're all facing the unknown and we don't know how we're going to go forward. But at this point, we are hoping that we will be able to camp as normal with, as we say, management in place to make sure that the health and safety of everybody is looked after.
Perfect. Next question. Will there be leftover Centenary camp souvenirs sold at the shop afterwards? Hopefully we sell out. Everyone buys one and everyone gets one. That'd be fantastic. But I'm sure there are going to be some souvenirs there. However, I would get in quick to buy them because they are rushing off the shelves. So get on the shop page and order them now. Another one, Sarah suggested an LIC for a region. Is that separate from the region liaison? So just to clarify those two roles there, if you can, Jodie or Sarah.
Yeah, I answered that question while you were going through the other question. So yes, the regional liaison generally will be the camp liaison, but it may be someone else, dependent, and that's up to the region to decide.
Perfect. Thank you, Sarah. Sorry, I missed that. If a region struggles to get a leader to attend from the region, but there are girls who wish to attend, can those girls be adopted by another region?
Absolutely. We'd have no qualms in doing that whatsoever. And we'd make sure that that even possibly got in touch with each other prior to the camp, perhaps made some connections so that they weren't just showing up, you know, blindly to stay with a group of girls that they hadn't had any connections with beforehand. But absolutely, if that is an issue, then I'm sure it is something that some of our bigger regions would be able to accommodate a few extra bodies, no problem.
And we're also looking, if you know a region has just a few leaders and some girls come, we will also make sure we put them in with another region as well, so there's a bit more of a large camp atmosphere for those.
Not two or three girls just camped by themselves. We'll make sure that they're feeling the love.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. A very popular question, COVID safe. Just more information around COVID safe for this camp. I will just add in, we will be adding more information to the website and the dedicated microsite for the event around more information about COVID. So I'm sure you will get questions from parents. Is it COVID safe? Will my girls be safe? We will put all the information that we have up there about that. The venue is very accommodating and they will be making sure that it is COVID safe for all of the attendees as well as Girl Guides will be making sure too. Will the program be available before camp? What's the other rest? Yes, it will be. I will answer that one. Yes, we'll have it up on the website. We're going to give you a little bit of a snippet and a sneak peek very shortly by the end of this week, but we'll go into more depth and detail about what will be included on each day, timings and things like that. Also, closer to the event, we'll be sending out a confirmation with all of that detail, very thorough details, so then parents and leaders yourselves are well aware on what is happening on each day. Jodie, will there be an arrival and departure time for each region bus?
The short answer to that is yes, and that will be coordinated by our region liaisons. Perfect. So once we have ideas of numbers, obviously, we will coordinate with them so that the buses are staggered and we don't have, 15 buses all arrive there at once, because we certainly don't have the space and the capacity for that many buses all at the one time. So yes, they will be allocated an arrival time and they will be allocated a departure time.
Cool. A question was in there, but it was answered by someone else, so thank you, but I will just cover off on it. Is the venue walking distance from the train station in Katoomba? I would suggest not to walk it, especially bringing your camp equipment and things like that. It is quite a long walk and it is not flat. It is uphill, it's downhill, it'll take you a long time. We do suggest well, you need to arrive by your region bus. So make sure that you go to that dedicated pickup point for your region bus and arrive to the camp that way. Will it be possible to register as a unit or district? No, unfortunately, we have made the registrations so individuals go on and register themselves. And Jodie, you did cover off on this before, saying that we want members to register themselves so leaders and managers aren't chasing up money from the parents to pay for the girls to go. So they register, they pay their deposit or their full amount as well. So then there's no need for chasing up any money. Jodie, did you want to elaborate?
No, I don't think that's covered it. Oh, Sarah.
I'd like to add something if I could. One of the reasons that units like to register the girls themselves is so that they can be assured of who is registered. We have it's about ready to go live, and if it's not, I'm going to just have a big sigh or something. And I see Ashely nodding there, so it is about ready to go live, where we will be able to, and indeed we will be able to send you reports of who is registered for your in your units, and I believe it's a report you'll be able to pull yourself. Yep, Ashley's nodding still, so yes, I've got that one. I've got that one in my memory bank. So you will be able to find out as far as units fundraising and the girls, and then you will have to, in this instance, send the money to the parents' account so they can pay for the girls' camp fee.
Cool. A few more questions coming in, a lot of questions coming in, which is great. Can leaders donate the cost of their camp ticket to their unit and have the unit pay to receive a deduction?
No.
And I'll jump in and just say I'll follow up on that one later.
I can jump in and say no. The regulations and the legislations, both state and federal, around those sorts of activities are very clear. A donation is a free and given freely and clearly to the organisation, and it is not for a purpose. Any books that were reviewed, if they saw a whatever amount of money going in and then whatever amount of money going out, with the person who donated that money receiving a tax deductible receipt, would place themselves and the organisation in some legal hot water. So that is a big fat no.
Perfect. Thanks for that, Sarah. Thanks for elaborating. Another one: if a 10-year-old is in a junior guide unit at time of registration, will they be able to attend? For the requirements for attendees is 10 and older at the time of the event, and they do need to be in a guide unit. That's for the camp. However, for the carnival day, they will definitely be able to attend. That will be from pre-junior, junior guides as well, and they will be able to attend that carnival day. But for the camp, they have to be 10 and older and in a guide unit.
However, at the time of registration, if your person is in junior guides, you might want to contact the events team to work out how that might be managed. Because if they have to be in a guide unit to go to camp, but to register, there's a bit of an anomaly there. So if you have that issue, connect with the events team and they will help you sort that out.
Will there be nighttime security at the camp?
I don't think we've finalised that as yet, have we, Sarah? The campsite itself has security.
We are planning to have overnight security.
Yes, I was going to say we did have a discussion about it. I don't recall what we signed off on. So, but yep. Oh, sorry. I just saw there's a message.
Jodie.
there's a question there that says, will there be a medical centre on site? Well,
yep.
There will be a first aid post on site. I would loosely call it a medical centre, very loosely. So on each subcamp, we are asking the regions to have a first aider and a first aid kit, and to be able to treat the minor issues that arise, you know, broken fingernails, you know, pimples, grazed knees, that kind of thing. That should all be dealt with on your subcamp. If it gets to be anything more serious, then yes, we will have possibly 2 first aiders appointed for the duration of the camp. And as we mentioned, we will also have a welfare area.
Cool. Just to elaborate back on the registration as well. Another question, we are a flexi unit, so would it be okay for a junior guide to attend? Flexi units has to be 10 and older at the time of the event. Next question, do you expect that junior guide leaders may be able to attend, provided okay with the region? Asking for a friend.
Yeah, right.
Sure. Yes, most definitely. While we're asking that the girls be 10, and anyone who's even attended a weekend camp with their unit or district, let alone a longer camp, will understand why that is. And yes, for flexi units, it is a challenge, because you may have some people who are able to attend and some aren't, but that's the nature of a flexible unit. But for most definitely, you know, provided that you are given permission to attend, the junior guide leaders are most welcome. It's a great experience, and the more leaders we can get, the better, I reckon.
Okay. Any more questions from the floor? Put them in. We've still got 14 minutes, so let's fill this time with all the information that you need. Keep chatting in your questions, and we'll keep answering them for you.
If you would prefer to ask a question verbally, you can. Just simply raise your hand and we'll call on you as well if it's a complicated question too long for the chat.
Okay, there's a question in one of these, in the pre-meeting questions. Will the girls be getting a camp hat and a camp shirt? We are still negotiating on that, but we're pretty sure a camp hat, not so sure about a camp shirt. But that information will come out soon. And there's a fair few in there about will units be split up? Will we camp with our unit? Will we be camping in domes? Will we be camping, in bells? That's as Jodie said earlier. It is that will be up to the region. And but I did see one: are leaders in their own tents or sleeping with the girls? That is a policy of Girl Guides Australia, and thus a policy of our state and 2 territories, that girls and leaders never, ever, ever sleep in the same tent. The leaders will sleep in separate tents and girls will sleep in separate tents. And that applies whether the girl and the unit leader are mother and daughter or some other such relative, because when you're at a guide event, you are a guide leader and a guide youth member.
And you need your space.
Cool. A few people have asked about the website for Centenary Camp. Ashely has put it up in the chat box, so you can click on that link and head to the website, and also the dedicated microsite as well, and all the information is on there. A few more questions are coming in, which is great. Money at camp, will it be needed?
Very minimal. So your camp fee is going to cover all your meals and all your activities. If, for example, the girls are at Scenic World, for example, and they wanted to buy a small souvenir or something like that, then yes, they would be welcome to. I do apologise, my cat has just visited. But really, there shouldn't be a need for the girls to have a lot of cash on them at the time. When we have our carnival day, we may have the guide shop come in for the day, but we won't have a guide shop available to us for the entirety of the camp. So as we say, it would really only be their own small personal items that they should need to buy if they wanted to, you know, buy a small souvenir or something like that.
We have a raised hand. I know we've still got a couple more questions in the chat, so we'll get to those, but Cheryl has her hand raised, so I'm going to ask you to unmute and ask your question, Cheryl.
Hello, thanks for that. The reason I asked about the walking distance from the train station to the campsite was because we're in Lithgow, and I just was thinking about the day visitor, whether it was walkable for not carting like packs and stuff, but for the day visitors. That was where my question was coming from. Okay.
It is still a reasonable distance from the station, and I wouldn't suggest that you would walk junior guides down. You need to, well, you don't need to come right down the main street of Katoomba, although you can. Coming to the campsite, you will probably do mainly downhill, but there will still be some uphills. And obviously you have to go back to the station. So going home, it will be largely uphill. We're not like your fathers, it's not uphill both ways, but it's certainly, as we said, not a flat walk, and I wouldn't suggest that you bring your younger guides down that way. And unfortunately, we don't have a facility. We're not going to have the capacity to be able to run any sort of shuttle bus from the train station back to the campsite.
So thank you for that. So is there any opportunity that if leaders were able to meet, say, like so many 100 metres away from the particular camp, that the parents could bring their children to there and then they could walk the rest of the distance?
Yeah, there is actually a local park that's not very far away, probably 5 minutes away. There wouldn't be any problem in you meeting somewhere like that to be able to do that. So by all means, we will still allow people to come in and drop off at the campsite to possibly use the same route that our buses will come in and go out of. But as we say, we do have limited parking, but we will have obviously parking available, hopefully for that visitors day. So once we get some numbers, we will kind of have a discussion further with the region liaisons as to whether they think that it is going to be a worthwhile thing to come as a group from their region. But that decision hasn't been finalised as yet.
Okay, thank you. Just because we're close, and I know there's
Yeah.
probably other units are close for those day visitors. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Okay, so there's a couple of questions here. One I'll leave for Jodie and one I'll answer. And the one I'm going to answer is, it's back to fundraising. Can a unit accept a donation that is intended for the camp that covers the total cost for the unit to attend? If it is not a person who is donating the money and then getting the money back for themselves, yes, they can. So if the local, coal board or whoever it is wants to donate a large amount of money for everyone to attend camp, and wouldn't that be lovely? Then that is more than doable. But if a mother and daughter are donating the money that goes to camp, goes to the unit, and then comes back out to pay for their attendance in camp, that is not actually a donation. But if an organisation, wealthy benefactor, donates money for that purpose, and they are not benefiting from that donation themselves, that is completely free and clear. And the one I was going to throw to Jodie was, I saw there was a mention of being able to walk distances regarding getting around the campsite. What distances are we talking about?
Okay, we will be camped on an oval, and we will be required to go up to an auditorium for our meals, and we will use the space up outside the auditorium on a regular basis. So that walk will probably take you 5 minutes. It is uphill, obviously going there, going to bed at night, it's downhill. And it is on a path, and it will be well lit. So there shouldn't be we're probably all going to get sick of walking up and down it, because I'm sure that I will be walking up and down there many times a day. But it's not a long, really steep hill. It's a hill that is short, and obviously we will head up that way and try and stay up there sort of as long as we can, and then head back. Sorry. So yes, there is a hill, but it does have a pathway, and you should be able to head up there really without too much problem. I did notice there was one in which Emma and Ashely, you can probably answer about registering for the Carnival Day.
Yeah, not a problem. The Carnival Day registrations are going to open in early December for the Carnival Day. It's going to be run as a separate ticketed event. So those who are coming for the Carnival Day will book in through a separate website. So we'll have that available, but we'll put a link on the main page for the camp. And those registrations, again, will also be individual, and there'll be a different price point for attending for the Carnival Day. So stay tuned for a bit more information to come out on the Carnival Day very soon.
And yes, it is okay to use Guy's biscuits as a part of your fundraising. That is the purpose of Guy. One of the purposes of Guy Biscuits is that you can raise funds for your district or your region. Just remember that now we buy biscuits in a different way, that you need to allocate the funds going to the district, and there's a spot on the website when you buy them to do so.
And they are available to the end of December, as far as I know. Yep.
Or until they're sold out.
Okay, a few more questions until we wrap this up. If you're qualified as a district manager but not a full leader yet, would you be considered a leader for this?
Yes. Yep. So you can put an application through, and again, it'll be back to your region to manage the leaders. But yes, you can.
Perfect. Is a leader's attendance at camp contingent on girls from that unit attending?
No, so same instance. So if the leader would like to apply, by all means do that. And again, as we said, that will be managed through the regions with their ratios. Some regions may be very, very grateful to be able to have an extra leader that doesn't have girls from her own unit, to be there as an extra pair of hands and to be there to assist with other girls in the region. So by all means, put your application through.
Cool. In the event of wet weather, our wet weather plan for the Oval, as someone says that they've been there before and they know that it can get quite muddy in the wet. I
am happy to tackle that one, as I've had that conversation with the venue. There are runoff channels along the Oval. Look, it is the outdoors, it is an Oval. We cannot prevent mud entirely, but there are runoff channels and a lot of work that the venue does to ensure that, and we've already discussed this, that will be ensured that the Oval is not too muddy, we won't be camping in a swamp or a lake or anything along those lines. So yes. But of course, it is a camp, and bring your tarps and bring all of your stuff that your regions will, of course, have planned for.
Perfect. Okay, I think Ashely, you've covered off on a couple of other questions in the chat there about the Carnival Day. So like Ashely said, more information will be coming up on the website very soon, and she's popped the dates in there as well. So that's fantastic. Jodie, any last words, or Sarah?
I know, I think I'm exhausted.
Just be assured, everyone, that this will be a great event to close off our centenary. And, you know, yes, everybody's always keen to know the program and exactly what's going to happen at a camp. But rest assured that it will be one of those great events that, as Jodie pointed out very early in the meeting, that will utilise the local attractions, but there will be plenty of guiding stuff in there as well. The carnival day is going to be a great day for both our campers and our day visitors. We've got some really exciting things lined up for evening activities as well. And just one of the things that is, you know, if you publish the entire program, people tend to judge it by what's written on the paper, which is, of course, we know is only just the very beginning of what happens at a camp. So, you know, it would be great if you could just really start encouraging your girls and any other girls you see and leaders to start applying. And we look forward to seeing you all at camp in April.
I can see Marianne waving at us.
If anyone's got any questions about camp,
do you have something you want to add, Marianne? You'll have to unmute yourself.
I was going to say that not all the program needs to be told out to everybody, because number one, if it changes because of wet weather or anything like that, then there's potentially disappointment if something we've promised is not able to be held or whatever, or for whatever reason things aren't going to be held. And I think that's particularly the carnival day, because that is sort of in airy fair. I mean, I think the other ones are locked in because you know you're going to go here for Monday and Tuesday what you'll be doing on Wednesday, but Thursday I'd prefer to have less known about that. So it is an exciting day, and things can change, and as we know from other events we've had. So I'd rather that. I don't think people need to know exactly what's going to happen, because if it doesn't happen, then there's a disappointment or whatever else.
Come along and find out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for that's the time. Also going to say about one of the things I put in there was that the like for Carnival Day, we actually might need a few more leaders than you've got leaders to ratio for the girls. So maybe there is a time when you can, I know we don't want to be overwhelmed by leaders, but also we'll perhaps have a look at I think Jodie and Sarah and I can look at the Carnival Day and see what sort of leaders we need, because that's some things need more than other events.
So we had a very good catch up with the liaisons about that on whatever day that was. One of those other days behind us. So yeah, you're exactly right, Marianne. We'll be looking at that as well, what we can do to, even if people can't come for too much of the camp, if they come in on Carnival Day, that would be a great help too, but we'll be in touch about that as well. I've noticed we are over time, so we're going to close up now. If you do have any questions, there is a facility to ask questions on the website, isn't there?
There, yes, there is. I'll just
Excellent.
chime in.
And I do note that some people came at 8 o'clock, so unless there may have been some confusion about the time, but if you missed it, this session is recorded, so if you did come in late, you will be able to find it somewhere. Jodie, Ashely, where will we find it?
Yes. After today's meeting, we're going to go ahead and we'll make this session available for all leaders. It'll likely end up on the Centenary Camp website and in a targeted email to leaders about the camp, so that everyone can have access to it if they weren't able to attend. So feel free to share this information and share this video with others from your district or your region who you know couldn't make it tonight. And we will be sending a post meeting email, and that email will include the link to the video. It's going to include your region liaison list and their emails for contacting them. We do encourage you to ask any questions of your region liaisons, especially some of those more local region focused questions to them, and then they'll correspond those questions to Jodie as need be. And then, as Sarah mentioned, there is a feature on the event page, and that'll be included in the email as well, that allows you as leaders or girls as attendees to pop questions in at any point in time in the lead up to the event. And Jodie and Emma and I and a few others involved in the organizing will be reviewing those questions and getting back, and we'll either be getting back to those questions directly, or we'll be getting back to those questions by adding them as a part of the frequently asked questions on the camp page. So I think that covers everything that we will include. But again, if you guys have any questions, you can always email them to events. We're using a bit of a filter system. So if you do have a question, send it through to events, and then we'll all send it through onto Jodie if it's more of a specific LIC committee related question. Yeah, that's it for us for a little bit of a wrap up.
I think it's also hoped that we will do another similar session to this in the new year. So probably around the beginning of February. So if there are, you know, obviously we'll be in a little bit of a different position then, but yeah, to do a similar session to keep people updated with how we're progressing, and obviously answer any more questions, etc. But thank you very much for your time, ladies. As we say, it's nice to see your enthusiasm to jump in and have a chat with us now. So please take your enthusiasm and share that with the other leaders and girls that you come into contact with. And yeah, we're looking forward to April. And go the Blues. Is that what's happening tonight?
Gonna be something good. Okay.
Okay, so thank you. Bye for now.
Thanks, Jodie.